Hi, this is Catherine, and welcome back to Taking Tea with Catherine. I'm drinking Ticino's Dandelion Turmeric, which kind of sounds healthy. So here's hoping it's also good as well as healthy. I haven't tried it yet. Still a little bit hot. I kind of was in the mood for coffee, but knew that coffee was not in the mood for me. So again, a good compromise. Anyway, so I'm doing the New Year's book tag. I think it came out, actually, I don't know where it came out originally, but I started seeing it toward the end of December. So people were planning things for the year. And I thought about doing it, but then I just didn't manage to. And then Jennifer Brooks tagged me, and I will link her video, her tag down below. Her questions or her answers to the questions are very good. So yeah, I don't know who the original is, so I can't link that down below. If I ever find out, I will edit and put it in there. You know, I'm not much for editing, but that I can do. So let's get started with the questions. I've talked a little bit about my goals, by the way, certain goals and TBRs, and I may still continue with a few more, but these questions are still quite good. Some might be slightly repetitive, but repetition is not always a bad thing. Number 1, how many books are you planning to read in 2020? And I put down the number I've put down for at least 5 years now, maybe 6-7 years actually, which is 75. It's a number I made once and surpassed once, so I guess I made it twice. I don't know, but I always aim for it, and I'm not upset if I don't make it. I'm happy if I get past it. That's great, but if I don't, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. There's too many things in life. But it's a good number, and it's a feasible number for me, so I think it's nice. Number 2, name 5 books that you didn't get to this year, but want to make a priority in 2020. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to mention, because I already talked about classics that I want to read, so I didn't want to include that again. So I thought I will show you some books that I acquired last year. A lot of them later in the year. And at least 2, 3 of them I had when they were pretty new. And maybe they were either full price or close to full price. So if I don't read it pretty quickly, I always feel like I don't get my money's worth. Like, for example, I bought that book Little Panic full price last year, full paperback price. I bought it like in the springish, and I didn't read it until November. And it was still good, but I've been seeing it on Book Outlet for a lot cheaper. And I was like, I could have waited and just got it on Book Outlet. And I do like to support my independent bookshops. So I still feel kind of, proud of myself. But still, for my budget purposes, it's kind of nice to get to them. With that being said, I'll show you these books. And okay, this first one is, well, it wasn't full price. It was $9, but still a substantial amount of money. I found this in, I think I found this in Verbatim Books in San Diego. Wonderful bookshop. I know I mentioned it before in a haul, but Verbatim Books inside and out is gorgeous. I think it's not that old of a bookshop, so they could probably use the support, and their prices are very reasonable. Like, kind of like the Strand, New York prices-ish. And it's just gorgeous. So, not a perfect cover, but Rogues Gallery, and this is about the Metropolitan Museum of Art by Michael Gross, and I think it's this year that it's having an anniversary, maybe like 150 or one of these situations. I think it's this year. So if it is, then I really want to get to this. But I like reading about museums, so here's another perspective. This one, again, not full price, but a pretty newish price nevertheless, and I got this on Book Depository. When I get things on Book Depository, I know that I'm still getting a good deal, but I know a lot of times they're not like cheap, if that makes sense. So I think I've shown all of these in hauls recently, but Adele Brand, The Hidden World of the Fox. I finished a book about foxes on Earth in November, and I just wanted to read more, so I got this one, and no, I didn't read it in 19. So 20 is my time. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about history, but The White Horse King, The Life of Alfred the Great by Benjamin Merkel. Speaking of Jennifer Brooks, I saw her talk a lot about Alfred the Great, and I realized that even though I've read a lot about English history, but I've read mostly English history roundabout from the Norman invasion conquest, 1066 onward. So this is a little while before that, so that would be good to get a little more info. And Alfred the Great just sounds interesting. So here's one I got in Astoria Bookshop, and I got it, I think in July. And I think this was also a full price one, and I thought I was going to read it right away, and I didn't. So The Catmen of Gotham, Tales of Feline Friendships in Old New York. So it's got two things I love, cats and New York. Oh, three things, history. So why have I not read this yet? And I finished 21st Century Yokel by Tom Cox, and before I even did that, I bought Ring the Hill as soon as I could, so it's a beautiful cover, it's a beautiful book. Stephen Fry just gave a recommendation about this, which I think Tom Cox really loved. Of course, who wouldn't love a recommendation from Stephen Fry? So even if he hadn't made that, I am very much looking forward to reading this. I know there's going to be some sad bits, but I think I could deal with it, and it's just a gorgeous looking book, and I just want to read it. So there it is. Yes, all of those I purchased mostly the latter half of 2019 and thought I would have read them straight away, and I didn't. I also had, maybe you should talk to someone, and I have started that already, so I didn't mention that, but I did now, so you know. Okay. Too much licorice. I don't hate it, but this is probably not going to be my favorite of the Ticcinos. Meh. All right. I need to get moving. Number 3. This is going to tie in a little bit. What genre do you want to read more of? So I've been doing well-ish. For me, I've been doing well in catching up on reading classics. I think last year I did much improved upon the past years before that. So, and I have a lot on my TBR that I plan to read, and I'm currently reading a number of classics. So I'm good with classics, and I'm just going to keep continuing with that. Ready. And, but history. Now, of course, I do still read history, and I buy a lot of history books. At least 2 of the books I just showed you were technically history books. At least 2. So I'm obviously interested in reading it, and I am currently reading some books that are history, but I'm not reading enough. I have been reading a little more natural history, so I'm there somewhat. I have started a number of history books, and I enjoy it, but somehow I'm not making a lot of headway. Biographies I've been doing a little better, and technically some biographies are history-ish, historical, so I'm not completely off, but I know I can do better. So, and I love history, so there's no excuse. So I'm going to work on that. I said I wanted to do a teen history feature like I do with teen mystery, so it's really time for me to step up big time. Also, I was thinking, I haven't gotten to it yet, so before this year gets too full, and I know I see people who are still doing wrap-ups for November, so I know if I don't do things straight away, I'm not a terrible person or a terrible booktuber, but I do tend to like to stick to a little bit of a schedule. So I want to get my TBRs out of the way before February comes along. So I think soon, or possibly soon, if I haven't done it by February, then I won't do it. I might just put together a history TBR for the year. Because it gives me some accountability, which I like. It's good to have structure. It's good to have them in front of me. And it gives me something to look forward to. So history, in short. Number 4, name 3 non-book related goals for 2020. Well, kind of typical ones. Watch my health. I'm not a good eater. I eat things I shouldn't eat. I eat things I probably shouldn't eat at all. And sometimes I eat too much of things that aren't terrible, but just aren't agreeable. And that's probably the worst thing I do with my health. I could work out more. I hate talking about working out. I don't belong to a gym, and I do walk a lot, so it's not like I'm not moving. I just could use a little more toning, whatever. I don't like to talk about that. That's boring. But yeah, it's good to keep a watch on my health. It's good to keep one's watch on one's health at any point in their life. But I'm in my 40s now, and it gets a little scary when you're not careful. So okay, we've talked enough about that. I used to blog a lot, and I still have my blog from 2005 that I'm not giving up, and I love it, and I update it every once in a while, but I haven't updated it since October. I did 2 posts in October. I was like, I was on a roll, and then suddenly 3 months have passed, and what happened? And I know that when I go to London, I will find a few things to write about. What I mostly write about is books and tea. Hello. But I talk a lot about books here now, so I might shift a little more of my focus and talk a little more about tea rooms that I am going to. So I need to go to more tea rooms, and that ties in with a third non-book related goal, which is to become slightly more social of a person, which I'm not antisocial, and I don't require a lot of party time. I don't need to go out a lot. I live in New York. There are a lot of things I could do outdoors, both alone and with people. Some things are expensive, some things are quite reasonable. This time of year, it's cold out and I get a little and I love to be indoors reading and hanging out with my cats and eating things I shouldn't eat. But I think it's a healthy thing, speaking of health, and again, when I talk about my health, I also mean mental health. It's good to keep up with that. There is a measure of spending time with people that I care about, that I need to do better, and it's a beneficial thing, and just in general, because you become a selfish person, you spend too much time on your own. And again, I'm not a hermit. I do spend time, besides work, I do spend time doing things, but I know I could do better. Enough said about that. And if that one more thing to say about that. If that cuts into my reading time, that's not a terrible thing either, because if it's something that I'm doing, that's a good thing, right? All right, number 5. What's a book you've had forever that you still need to read? So I went back to Library Thing, because Library Thing is the site and now also app that I've had keeping track of my reading and books that I own since 2006. So it's the authority I go to when I go to see what books I've had the longest. I got it in June of 2006. And I know that because I can look and it says the date entered. There's a big clump of them entered around June 27th, I think it is, 2006. So anything I had entered then doesn't mean I just got it in 2006. Some of them I had from before then, sometimes even 10 years before, but mostly within 5 years of 2006. So anything I had then is what I checked. And I looked at this, I saw this book there, and it has a little bookmark in it, so I started it. White Muggles? I don't know if I'm saying that word right. Muggles? I sound like I'm saying Muggles. Muggles? Yeah, I need to be corrected probably. Bonnie can correct me maybe because she probably understands the actual pronunciation better than I do. Love and Betrayal in 18th Century India by William Dalrymple. And it is destined to become an instant classic by Amanda Foreman. My sister showed me a picture in the Delhi airport, not an airport deli, actual deli, of a bunch of books in a bookshop there. And this was one of them, and I saw that, and I'm like, this book I bought in England, probably London, back in just, if my memory is correct, and I'm going to look at the copyright, 2002. If my memory is correct, I got it in my 2003 visit to London. Because I think I remember the job I was at, the bus, reading it on the bus, and then just not getting any further than page 30. And that doesn't mean it was a bad book, but I think it's time to get back to it, or at least to try. All right. One word. This is number 6. One word that you're hoping 2020 will be calm. That is a hard thing to achieve, is calm, because everybody is so wrecked about things, not just in the whole grand scheme of what's going on in news and that sort of thing. That's already rough, But just in day-to-day life, it's really hard to remain calm and to get up in the morning and not freak out about anything, to get to work, to get to any kind of transaction in life. Someone like me who's an anxious person, it's hard to remain calm, and good thing to focus on. It's a lot of words, actually, that I hope 2020 will be, but calm is a good one. So the seventh one is to tag some fellow booktubers, and I think I've already seen a lot of the fellow booktubers that I would have tagged already did this, or are tagged already. So, if you're not one of them, and you feel left out, and you want to do this tag, you're tagged by me. I'm doing that thing where you just automatically tag people. I'm not the only one who does that, so I don't feel so bad. So, if you've read any of these books I've talked about, feel free to comment down below. No spoilers, obviously. If you like these conversations, please subscribe. If you've ever had this tea, or whatever it's called, teachino, let me know what you think of them, because I'm the only one I know who's had it besides my sister, who had a few of the packs with the fig in them, because I couldn't have them. I can't eat figs. Bleh. I can't drink figs. Meh. So she's got them. So that's my New Year's book tag. Mostly books, but I did go off on a little tangent about other things. And that's okay, because life happens. This is Catherine from Taking Tea with Catherine. I hope you have a lovely day.